I'm opening an older resume for you of 1 year ago, but I can still go deeper with another document with this. So as you can see here on page 4, a cover letter is I'm calling the pandemic these words, okay? And I'm saying in November 2019, pre-proto-civilization social pandemic. So it was always clear to me that, I believe in viral pandemics or other types of disease pandemics. But this was not one of them. I'd already been talking about HSD and how most of your proto-societies were on the brink of collapse because of, well, remember that song where I say time has proven economics wrong? So, your doctors that you want to trust, they suffer from HSD. So they're just surviving one day at a time, kind of unconsciously, like most of you, knowing something's wrong. Society's not functioning that well, and it's in trouble. And so, if you guys made better choices in your lifestyles, needing less to go to hospitals or to depend on, your drug-pushing doctors, this would have avoided the pandemic, this particular virus. And I'm not saying that some deadly ones aren't on their way, because they are, right? Because you are misbehaving as children on this planet, and it's not like a heavenly father that's doing this. It's just socio-cybernetics and other forms of cybernetics where you are disturbing a very nice life system on this planet. And it has already, before your species ever came, various systems of feedback in place to take care of disturbances, right? And it's not personal, but it is in response to your decisions, these consequences that are coming for you. So if most of you at the beginning of this would have decided to eat better, exercise, meditate, focus on breathing through various forms of meditation or yoga, and if you would have suddenly realized that maybe I don't need my doctor that much, but even if I go see my doctor, there's a high likelihood with these failing medical systems that I could be made sicker, then that would have not caused the last 2 years. Let me show you more of what I mean. Okay, so when I started talking about HSD about 10 years ago, or a little bit more now, my University of Vancouver Island University, which I fired the faculty for being incompetence, were provided with, and it was really weird that I had to force teachers to read Time Capsule 2.1, and they said pretty much, oh, it's very interesting. That's pretty much it. And I'm not paying student loans for that. So when I wrote the second one, I'd often get requests to submit papers to, socio-cyberneticists conferences around the world or whatever, and I knew they suffer from HSD too. But still, I decided to do an abstract long after I wrote the 2.0, which is, over 8,000 words. And this is my abstract here. I'm going to get the PDF to read it here. Just give me a second. And I call this the Homo Communia Grade 8 article abstract.
Ask not what Earth/Gaia can do for you, but rather, ask what you can do as Gaia. By Martin Pariseau. Formerly Canadian, but now simply an independent, and traveling, solo male speciated Homo sentient sapien philanthropic eco/socio-scientist, originating from Earth/Gaia/Soul.
Soul 3.
Email, drhumanics
So
at gmail.com.
PDF doesn't read very well. Most
Skype,
words it's not familiar
the
with.
Doctor of Humanics. Keyword/phrases, Gaia theory/Earth system sciences, cultural domestication/human-domestication-syndromes, indoctrination, future planning, ecocentric humanism, global patterns in education, human-chauvinism, ethnocentrism, sustainability, meme tics, intellectual laziness, socio-cybernetics. This provocation-style article is written with the intent to wake up the reader's metapsychology, defined here as observing their own thought processes, in order that they may become an active participant in this current age's clearly failing attempts at a stable proto-civilization. It is written from the point of view of an outside observer who, although caring about the common women/men of the day, the Homo communia, still seeks to present the unpleasant truths that may subsequently help to cause a reduction in their descendants' hardships, miseries, and sense of hopelessness, for this present-day people majority. It goes without saying that the rest of the living globe would benefit from this as well. The author, living his life as a unique case study, presents some autobiographical self-disclosure along with both established environmental and social sciences. The intent of the author is to formulate clarity in the connections between his ecocentric humanism worldview as well as socio-cybernetic future management principles. The various themes pertain to what are historically still unresolved human issues. They include human chauvinism, intellectual laziness, anthropocentrism, and the Homo communia's own mind's absence of a human operating system. These unresolved issues can also be used as explanations for both regressions, as well as ongoing limitations, in both the cultures of scientists, political leaders, educational managers, and of course as well, of social welfare and socio-structural service providers. The article, and its upcoming updates, are meant to include future forecasting in both the social, as well as the wiser eco-biogeological domains of the Homo communia and their place on this living globe, as life continues to evolve on this planet through various pre-human age-old collaborative cybernetic systems. This article/manifesto for an improved world is around 8,500 words in length.
So if I was going to write a book, this 2.0 version from 5 years ago, this article that it talks about, which is written in a more personable way, but this is more academic, and it's to get people that are high academics to say, yeah, I'd like to read it. And when they read it, although a lot of words in here, when they're at the top of their field, are words that they will assume they know how I'm using it without looking it up or referencing things, because they believe they're so smart, right? Compared to me, who has, no status of anything anywhere. And of course I wouldn't, because the 99.7 of you suffer from HSD. So when they receive the article, I don't hear back from them. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to ask. They don't know how to interpret it. They don't have the schemas. So any social scientists or humanities experts, if they don't acknowledge HSD in a conversation at the beginning with me after I explain it, then I can't talk to them anymore, because they're proving themselves a hack, a flim-flammer. They're illegitimate experts in their field, because you can't not incorporate HSD, and you can't incorporate it just in a tiny portion, like mass psychosis is starting to be used, which is just a tiny portion compared to the grand unification theory of HSD. So in a way, again, when I say I have no peers, nobody to collaborate with, is as much as somebody really wants to and is motivated, if their worldview of their expertise in social sciences can be rewritten with HSD in it, then they are useless to be collaborating with. And it's pretty sad in this way. So should I write 3.0? It'd be a waste of my time, but it'd be kind of still fun for an independent scientist like me to see what I would come up with in this latest version. Okay, I've sometimes been listening. They're pretty long as vlogs, and you don't learn a lot of new stuff every new one. But I don't know if this one will stay up or not. And the title is Freedom of Information Revelation by Dr. John Campbell, I think he's called. Let me see a little bit further down here. Dr. John Campbell, yeah. So, he's got a lot of subscribers, and it's good what he says. And here, the UK, I said this week, is approaching maybe, acknowledging that, they don't know about HSD. They wouldn't know how to have their best experts kind of come up, to 1% of how I've been working on it for the last decade. But they're kind of knowing, okay, maybe something in our heads has caused this pandemic more. So it might be why this report came out about a month ago, when somebody asked for it, I think, with Freedom of Information, because it shows COVID deaths that are with no underlying medical issues. That means it would be only COVID related. And it turns out, I think he's going to say, and I haven't gone much past, I think, I didn't even go past 9 minutes. And so I'll start it at 8 here and see what he says.
As we see, the average age of death from COVID-19 was actually greater than the average life expectancy in the UK. This is really quite profound data, this really. 17,371 deaths where COVID was the only attributable cause.
Okay, sorry.
Office for National Statistics.
Okay, I'm back to where we were. I pressed the wrong button there. So this is very likely a respectable doctor in the sense of, what doctors are capable of up here. So, it's not appropriate for you guys to hate your politicians or hate your doctors because they suffer from HSD too. This guy is still admitting that he doesn't know how to process this very simple data. It's very simple data. It's just that without HSD in your understanding, you're like, okay, this obvious stuff that we really, really knew even at the beginning of the pandemic, but couldn't get into our heads, so we waste this 2 years of stuff that will have lifelong impacts on our kids, for example. So this is not a bad person. This is maybe one of your better doctors, but still, he suffers from HSD. He doesn't know what to do with this because this is data of almost 2 years and showing that really life expectancy went higher even with people dying of only COVID, I believe is what is being said. I'll review the rest a bit with you. So again, the pandemic is that you guys are living too long, but you're not training new doctors or better healthcare or old age seniors' homes with quality. You are actually living a life where this monetary cult is it's bad for business for you guys to live too long, and you don't even know what the life of quality is and how to create it anyways. So these guys are just surviving one day at a time, these medical healthcare professionals, and they're pumping the same nonsense that doesn't reflect reality as your mainstream media is. So let me start this and see what else he says, because this is a pretty new one that came out on the 20th, and I believe today is 23, I believe.
It's really quite profound data, this really. 17,371 deaths where COVID was the only attributable cause.
That's the UK.
Now, these figures here, this represents a fall of 7 weeks for men and an increase of half a week for females when we average out over the whole country. So it looks like this reduction of 7 weeks for men, we can say there was a temporal correlation between that in 2020 and the start of the pandemic. We would think it's very likely it's a causal correlation, but from that data we can only say there is a correlation.
Okay, I haven't watched the rest of this yet. So, I'm going to do that now. And
that's in comparison to
you guys know how to find this if you want to. But again, when you find this and you probably have to watch a lot of videos to train yourselves in understanding things, such as even the volcano in Tonga. You're getting all sorts of bits of information forcing you with your thirst for knowledge, because you got these big brains that want to learn stuff, to make assumptions without the right understanding of geology or of failing social systems. So he doesn't know how to explain these very simple things. But again, it'll take years and years of analyzing, that even the people that died without underlying causes that were known, but that COVID is the only thing on their death certificate, it's very likely that the number can go down even more, because that's a very low number for all of the UK in almost 2 years, 17,000 people. And you can attribute it more to a failing medical system or the stress or the anxiety of mainstream media and what you guys were all paranoid about. Plus, some of these underlying causes might have been there and not really looked into it. They don't have time to kind of, do a post-mortem examination of the patient better. So again, this is just your limited ability to do science and to understand it. So you guys go and teach yourselves And maybe if this video gets you a tiny bit closer to want to hear more about HSD, then maybe that's what I'm going to do for my next question and answer period for